Authorities in New Mexico are getting ready to share new details today of the investigation into the deaths of Oscar-winning actor Gene Hackman and his wife and one of the couple's dogs. The bodies were found in their Santa Fe home last month. Carter Evans is there with the latest on this investigation.
Breaking news, actor Gene Hackman's cause of death revealed. It is tragic, sad. Officials tonight say the actor's wife died a week before Hackman.
The air in Hollywood just got heavier, and this time, it's not another scandal. It's something far more chilling. Gene Hackman, a name that echoed through generations, a legend whose performances left audiences spellbound, is no more. And the way it all unfolded? It's the kind of story that shakes you to your core. His death wasn't just a tragedy, it was a mystery wrapped in betrayal, deception, and an eerie trail of unanswered questions. But before we dive into the shocking revelations, let's rewind to where it all began. For years, Gene Hackman had been a recluse, choosing a life of solitude after stepping away from the limelight. The man who once dominated the big screen with roles in The French Connection, Superman, Unforgiven. He had seen it all, lived it all. Yet, even after decades of cinematic glory, fate had one final cruel twist waiting for him. And when authorities in New Mexico stumbled upon his lifeless body, alongside his wife and their beloved dog, the world gasped. The initial reports were vague, whispers of an accident, health complications, nothing concrete. But that was just the beginning, because what they uncovered next, it would send shockwaves through the entire industry. Here's where things get dark. Every single person involved in this gruesome act has now been exposed. And the truth? It's far worse than anyone imagined. The mystery surrounding Hackman's death unraveled in the most unexpected way, revealing a sinister web of betrayal and revenge that had been brewing for decades. At first, it seemed like a simple case, but the more investigators dug, the more they realized that Hackman wasn't just the victim of an unfortunate event. He had been marked. To understand why, we need to go back to the man behind the legend. Born in 1930, Hackman's early life was anything but glamorous. A turbulent childhood, a stint in the Marines, and an unshakable dream to make it in Hollywood. His journey was one of resilience and raw talent. But despite his stardom, Hackman always kept a certain distance from the industry's chaos. He wasn't one for the flashy parties or the never-ending attention. He wanted peace. But as it turns out, peace was the one thing he was never meant to have. Investigators now believe Hackman had been living in fear during his final days. A close aide revealed that weeks before his death, the actor had confided in him. He felt watched, stalked, haunted by a ghost from his past. And then, an ominous letter surfaced beside his body. No name, no signature, just a chilling message. The past catches up with you. You can't hide forever. A threat? A warning? Whatever it was enough to send shivers down the spines of those following the case. But let's talk about that fateful night. Hackman had been hosting a quiet dinner at his Malibu mansion. A few close friends, an intimate gathering, nothing out of the ordinary, until an uninvited guest arrived. His name? Jack Reading. If that name doesn't ring a bell, you're not alone. Jack was no A-list celebrity, no Hollywood mogul, but he was someone from Hackman's past, someone with unfinished business. Jack wasn't just an old acquaintance, he was a man with a vendetta. Years ago, he and Hackman had been embroiled in a bitter feud over a film project that collapsed, leaving Jack financially ruined. But here's where things get even murkier, because Jack wasn't acting alone. There was another name in the shadows, Lisa Michaels. A woman from Hackman's past, a former lover, a business rival, someone he had wronged? No one really knew, but what's clear is that her involvement added another layer of intrigue to an already twisted tale. The tension at dinner escalated quickly. What started as casual conversation turned into whispers, then arguments. Friends at the table felt the shift, the energy turning dark. But no one could have predicted what would happen next. Hours before dawn, Hackman was found dead. The cause? Initially unclear, but soon all signs pointed to foul play. And when authorities started connecting the dots, they realized this wasn't some random act of violence. It was something far more calculated. the deeper investigators dug, the more they uncovered. Hackman's past wasn't as clean as it seemed. Back in the 80s, he had been involved in high-stakes Hollywood deals, some of which didn't end well for certain powerful individuals. And when money's on the line, grudges don't just disappear. The pieces started falling into place, and suddenly, Hackman's fears in his final days made sense. He wasn't just paranoid, he had every reason to be afraid. Now, here's where things take a truly jaw-dropping turn. Authorities have finally pieced together the puzzle, and what they found is nothing short of mind-blowing. The suspects, the motives, the betrayals, it all comes together in a way no one saw coming. And trust me, what's about to be revealed will leave you speechless. Because just when you think you know where this story is going, But things had taken a dark turn. Lisa Michaels, the woman with a grudge that never faded, had held on to resentment for years. Some say she was heartbroken when Hackman moved on, while others believe she saw an opportunity for revenge after hearing about his growing fortune. Then there was his former manager, a man who had been cut out of Hackman's financial dealings after a string of failed investments. He had lost everything, and desperation had turned to hatred. Could he have conspired to silence Hackman forever? The motives were clear: money and vengeance. And then came the biggest twist yet. Hackman's estranged son, Trevor, with a long history of run-ins with the law and a fractured relationship with his father. Trevor's presence at the funeral raised eyebrows. His expression was unreadable, cold, distant. But behind that stoic facade, he was hiding something. The deeper investigators dug, the more they uncovered a chilling truth. Gene Hackman's death was not an accident, not some medical anomaly. It was cold-blooded murder, planned with precision, and fueled by deep-seated grudges. The investigation intensified, and soon, wiretaps, surveillance footage, and shocking witness testimonies painted a gruesome picture. Hackman's murder was not the act of a single individual. It was the work of a calculated conspiracy. One by one, the pieces of the puzzle fell into place. Jack Reading, Lisa Michaels, the embittered ex-manager, and even Trevor Hackman were all implicated. Their motives varied, but the end goal was the same: to rid themselves of Hackman once and for all. The trial was a media circus, every testimony revealing new layers of betrayal and deceit. But just when the case seemed wrapped up, an anonymous tip shattered everything. Detective Laura Hayes received a cryptic call from an unknown source, someone close to the investigation, someone who knew the real mastermind behind it all. And when the truth surfaced, it left the world speechless. The true puppet master was none other than Richard Ford, Hackman's longtime business partner and closest friend. The betrayal ran deep. Ford had once been Hackman's mentor, guiding him through the treacherous world of Hollywood finance. But over time, jealousy festered. Ford watched as Hackman's success overshadowed his own, and resentment took root. Behind the scenes, Ford orchestrated everything. He knew who to manipulate: Jack Reading's bitterness, Lisa's need for revenge, Trevor's fragile emotions. He pulled the strings while keeping his hands clean, ensuring that if anyone took the fall, it wouldn't be him. But the evidence was undeniable. Emails, phone calls, even recorded conversations proved Ford's involvement. When he was arrested, the entertainment world was left in shock. How could a man so close to Hackman betray him so completely? His trial was as dramatic as the case itself. Ford's lawyers fought to dismantle the accusations, but the evidence was overwhelming. Every shred of proof pointed to him as the architect of Hackman's downfall. In the end, justice was served. Ford was convicted of conspiracy to commit murder. But just when the world thought the case had finally reached its conclusion, another anonymous call rocked everything once more. The voice on the other end claimed there was more. Ford wasn't the only mastermind. There were others, still hidden, still free. The plot ran deeper than anyone imagined. Hackman's death was only the beginning of a web of deceit that stretched far beyond what had been uncovered. Was Hollywood hiding more secrets? Who else had a hand in this shocking crime? One thing was certain: John Hackman's final act wasn't just a tragedy. It was a haunting tale of betrayal, power, and the darkness lurking behind the glitz of fame. Though his life was cut short, his legacy remains untouchable. And as for those who conspired against him, their names will forever be etched in infamy, a reminder that in Hollywood, the greatest stories are sometimes the most tragic.